So as a teacher, I often like to start off with a question. So here it goes. You ready? What is a hand? No, I mean really. What do you picture when I say the word hand? I venture to say that most of you thought of your own hand. Maybe you thought of a generalized hand made up of all the hand experiences you've ever had in your life. But all the hands that we picture have one thing in common. They're different versions of things. They're nouns, objects, fixed, classifiable. But upon further investigation, a hand really isn't a fixed thing at all. In fact, it's constantly changing. The cells on the surface of your adult hand completely regenerate every 2 to 4 weeks. In children, even more rapidly. So the hand that you see tonight will be gone as you know it within weeks. I mean, we could think of the same thing about trees, right? You could imagine a tree, an object, it's a noun. But when you look really closely, a tree is a complex living system that is constantly growing and treeing. Let's do this for the same thing for the institution we call school. What is school? By a show of hands, how many of you pictured a school building when I said school? Come on, guys, be honest. It's like 90%. Or maybe you thought of classrooms, desks, whiteboard supplies, all the things that we as teachers and principals imagine make up the framework for the education we do all day. But wouldn't it be amazing if the first thing we all thought the minute we said the word school was our students' faces? But not the noun version with label called students, but the verb version, the way they really are as they grow and change before our very eyes. What if we thought of all those objects and buildings of school as just an afterthought? Because there really actually is no institution we call school, and education is just a construct that we build. Our job as teachers and leaders is the actualization of meaning making, which requires a shift from the fixed mindset. It requires being open a little to the unknown, giving up control a little, being able to navigate with our students as they grow and evolve through change. So why do we play this label game? Well, although we know there are many, many side effects to this kind of addiction we have in modern education to things we can organize, right? From like subjects to frameworks and course requirements and benchmarks, and of course all the things we can put in a building called school. Let's be honest, this oversimplified approach makes us feel safe. We have a plan. We can measure our success. It makes us feel relevant. In that situation, we have to imagine, sorry, one second. By the way, I have to tell you that this was the most amazing experience for me because I have had a life since I was 8 years old of freezing up on the stage from a trauma that I had as a child. So the most important thing that I did tonight was I got up in front of you. It wasn't just about the speech, if you will. So I promised myself I was bringing my blankie in case I needed to actually look up what I was going to say and not get stuck. Okay, so I sense, and maybe you do too, that this static education, although it doesn't seem to be working, is something that we want to change, but what could we do differently? Well, I'd like to suggest a first step. Return. Remember. Restore what we have as a legacy of our Jewish learning heritage. And let's go back to the word chinuch, the word most closely associated with the very alive doing of Jewish education. What is the root of this word? Chen, grace, charm, attractiveness. Chanach, to inaugurate, educate. Machanech, to be an inaugurator, to be an educator. When a mechanech reaches out to its student in a sense of charm, warmth, respect, and inaugurates learning, what do we think of? We think a spark of questioning. We think the development of character. We think the quest for spiritual meaning. Contrast this to the Latin word educare, which means to mold. Think of what you do to an object when you want to get your outcome. Throughout the last 3 years, I've been given a tremendous gift. Through a set of extraordinary circumstances, a group of boys from my community, high school boys, let's say they were yeshiva dropouts, were very disillusioned with the yeshiva system in my community. And together with another teacher and these boys, we built a brand new Mesivta high school. Now, when I look back on all the countless hours that I have been with these boys, I see that they turned from angry, apathetic, boys who didn't know what their futures might hold, to boys who became thoughtful learners, took control of their lives, and are boys who are open now to their Jewish identity for the first time in years. What did I learn the most from them? What was the biggest shift that happened from their path of failing to a path of succeeding? It was that one simple thing, the power of true chinuch. We started with the chen. We started by giving them the warmth, the respect, grace. We inaugurated the learning. We sparked their questions. We allowed them the quest for spiritual meaning. We allowed for their character development. It seems so simple, right? But just that little shift of mind can open worlds. My dream is that when you leave this conference so excited and inspired by the things you heard tonight, remember our learning heritage. All of the beautiful things you're hearing about what we can do with inquiry, what we can do with character development, that's just Torah, right? Thank you.